Bitcoin falling, Cardano falling, everyone watching the charts right now this evening asking the same question that I will explore in this video. How much lower will they go? What is up, everyone? Welcome to Crypto Capital Venture. Hit the subscribe, hit the like, turn the notification bells on. Let's jump into this Bitcoin and Cardano video. All in one, we're going to break down the charts, timestamps, probably useful if you want to skip around, check out what this video contains. Let's look at the hourly chart. So, from the swing high here, Bitcoin down around 10%, swing low. And I want to start by just illustrating something to you. If you go over here to this 6-hour chart, I very simply, very quickly zoomed out a little bit, and I just went back and I said, okay, what's the move like? And I didn't even take it from this swing high here, but this 6-hour candle, basically like a 7% to the downside candle. And then I went back and I looked at moves to the downside on the 6-hour here. Here's an 11, 12% move. Right here before a quick bounce, here was a 17% move. Here before a quick bounce was an 18% move to the downside. Going back on the charts, we have a 13% move to the downside. People freaking out then, not knowing a couple days later we'll be on our way up to new all-time highs. Same thing here, 13%, 13%. Here's a 25% dip coming off of an all-time high. Probably, I'm sure, so many people calling that the top of the bull market. Perspective, everybody. And this is just me. I'm not trying to throw hopium out there and make you feel better. This is totally non-emotional, but I'm just trying to just share data this isn't even going back far in the charts. Dips happen just all of the time. So I don't want to over sensationalize the fact that we're getting a dip right now. Again, they happen all the time. It's, in my opinion, not something to freak out about, but I want to talk about the move. We're going to talk about the move. We have to start here on the weekly. Really good things happening. Really important things happening. We're coming off of an all-time high here. We're getting consolidation on the weekly, and you can see it. We're very zoomed out, but the reason we're zoomed out is because you want to compare it to the last bull market. This happened time and time again, even more volatile, these huge dips. If you look at it, we're around 301 days post 2020 halving. If you look at 301 days post 2016 halving in the middle of that bull market, we were right around here. Look how much upside is in play there. Now, again, this isn't to throw out the hopium. This is to at least give you more of a zoomed out perspective on, okay, there's a bigger story being told. If you're a short-term trader and you're into those 15-minute charts, those hourly charts, and you're trying to swing trade, maybe this part of the video is not for you. However, I think there's so many just accumulators out there that are thinking long-term, generational even, and this is the chart you really want to focus on. But let's start digging in. Let's start talking about it. Right now on the daily chart, you can see Bitcoin zoomed out once again, finally consolidating down to this 50-day moving average. The reason I'm zoomed out is because, again, I want perspective here from the last bull market to show you something. The 50-day moving average, that blue line that you just see on the screen, is very important. We ultimately want to see a bounce off that area. We talked about it in yesterday's video, $50,000 area. But I want to just throw this out there that wicking and trading below that area briefly is normal in very volatile environments such as cryptocurrency. And Bitcoin in the last bull market actually broke that area multiple times on its way up. So just want to keep that in mind. If $50,000 at the 50-day moving average here at the blue line fails, it's not the end of the bull market. I mean, there's other data that we can use to discuss the end of the bull market, the beginning of a bear market. I'm just not there yet to even start doing videos like that. Obviously, I mean, look at the daily chart right now. Zoom out on the daily chart. This move right now is not even that bad comparatively to just everything else you see on the daily chart. So again, I don't want to over sensationalize what's going on, but let's start digging in. Here's a 6-hour. Let's look at actually what's transpiring on this 6-hour, and here we are. So we talked about this in yesterday's video, the descending triangle. What we discussed, and this is what I want to throw out now, especially since we broke the lower trend line, we discussed for a break through the trend line and a pullback. The pullback is based off of very key data, based off of 58% of the time we see a pullback rate of descending triangles in bull market territory. So when we're in the middle of a bull market, Bulkowski states based off of 1,300 trades, 58% of the time we see a pullback. And a pullback looks like, breakout to the downside and back up into the pattern. Now that can also look like this, breakout to the downside, even further, back into the pattern. That's what I'm watching for right now. I want to really just start analyzing and watching even market sentiment. Are there big buyers out there? What kind of on-chain metrics are we going to begin seeing in the next 24 hours, 48 hours, even post this dip? What will the metrics say to us? Were there big accumulations happening in Bitcoin? That's what I'm watching for. This $50,000 area is the 618 of this Fibonacci support area. That support area is the swing low to swing high back down to support. You can see $50,000 area is also the 50-day moving average we just talked about. It's the 618, of this Fibonacci, and it's just a mental type of potential support for Bitcoin. So let's see what happens if we make it down that low. And then going down here, the 786 around 47,000, very close to the target to the downside for this pattern, around $45,000. We can call it $45,000. So will we see a wick down there, bounce back up? That would be the best case scenario if we get the bearish break to that target. But again, we are not there yet. We're looking for the potential not only for the pullback, but potential for a busted descending triangle. Busted descending triangles really require a pullback, and you can see it on the screen here. If you zoom in, this is what it looks like. It's kind of like a fake out to the downside, back up into the apex, and then we're on our way up in this bull market. So that's something we need to keep an eye on. Those rules stay true as long as we don't dip more than 10% to the downside, right? So at that point, we're getting close to the target anyway, so it doesn't even matter. But as long as Bitcoin makes a pullback before 47,000, Bitcoin can very well see a pullback, broken, busted, descending triangle, very bullish for Bitcoin. But ultimately, I'm looking for a bounce, support anywhere down to $50,000 area, back into the triangle. I want to see a pullback. Because in these short-term moves and people are really freaking out about a break like this, and we could hit the target. I don't want to get everybody all, hoped up. We could hit the target. But oftentimes we see these busted patterns. And what happens is all this content starts coming out. Bitcoin's so bearish, it broke a trend line. And I think people make decisions based off of that. You have to really evaluate the possibility that Bitcoin pulls back in. That's why I always look for a second touch to the trend line to really get confirmed resistance there, downside. If we see a move like that, then I'm more short-term bearish. I mentioned in yesterday's video, $50,000 breaking. That's when I kind of become truly short-term bearish. But before that, I'm truly just waiting for Bitcoin to see a pullback into this triangle. So that's Bitcoin. Probably spent a little bit more time than I wanted to on that, but really important to note that, especially before talking about something like Cardano. Here's Cardano in the weekly. We're going to look at that pattern, exactly what's going on there. But again, on the weekly, so important to note, everybody, it's so healthy for these moves for Bitcoin, for Cardano, for Ethereum, Litecoin, whatever altcoin you're in. Cardano finally, after just seeing so many crazy gains coming out of that overbought territory, we're almost out of overbought territory completely on the RSI. That doesn't mean we're going to tank all the way back in. I mean, Cardano could realistically bounce right here and have so much room for upside now on the weekly, especially with things like the Cardano 360 tomorrow, especially with, you all know, Alonzo hard fork bringing smart contracts to Cardano. There's a lot of bullishness. Consolidation like this before all of these things happening, so good, so healthy for Cardano. But let's talk about the short-term moves. I know you want to look at it. I'm not going to show the clip. I've kind of referenced this video so many times. $1.43 hours before the Coinbase Pro listing, we talked about the exact move that is happening right now. This was the case for Cardano failing at this resistance and failing to basically trade bullishly off of the Coinbase news. Because when that happens, markets just don't react well when expectations aren't met. And the move is very simple. swing low to swing high, and you can see Cardano in the Fibonacci support area. Now, what we also talk about is the fact that we have the support area down to the 786, and we want to see what type of candle closes we get on both the 6 hour, the daily. If we can start closing above the 786, $1.07, that's huge. But we have this area down here. We haven't even broken the trend line yet. You can see we wicked into it right around, it looks like on this chart, $1.03 or so. But Cardano actually hasn't even broken the trend line yet. So we are very well still putting in a higher low from the 95-cent swing low that we had prior. And that was also a Fibonacci area, swing low to swing high. You can see Cardano bouncing off of that 786 perfectly down here at the bottom of the screen. So will this transpire similarly? Maybe. At the end of the day, when it happened last time, we got that nice 6 hour candle there and it looked promising. We got the bounce to the upside. What will transpire now? I mean, really tonight, going into overnight, will the trend line hold? Can we get a nice 6 hour kind of separation here from the 786, a bounce back up? A lot of it truly will depend on Bitcoin. Going in here to the 6 hour and looking at the target to the downside, I just want to be realistic and discuss this with you. 60 cents to the downside. Let's go to the weekly and look at something. Going to the weekly, we've been discussing this a lot. And I know I'm not the only one discussing this. Ethereum in the last bull market saw a very big dip. And this could be the case for Cardano. Ethereum saw a 70% or so dip in that last bull market. A dip to 60-cent target for Cardano would bring, from the swing high that we saw, all-time high, to 60 cents, would bring Cardano, where's 60 cents? Right around a 60% dip. Now note, also, the 20-week moving average would be really, truly coming into Cardano for just such really crazy consolidation. I'm not sitting here saying, I think that's going to happen. It's a technical target. We have to discuss it. I'm not saying I want it to happen. I don't. I want Cardano to keep putting in all-time highs just like you. Trust me. However, I'm just aware of it. I'm just ready for it. I saw how Ethereum operated in the last bull market. We all have. That was its first full bull cycle. So this is Cardano's first bull cycle. The amount of accumulation, though, that will be occurring, I think anywhere outside of the pattern you see on the screen, I think will be extremely heavy accumulation. So I'm not even quite sure it would get that low. Now, looking back at the 6 hour, again, let's track this along with Bitcoin because Bitcoin's testing a very key trend line with its descending triangle that we were just discussing. Here's the descending triangle. We're testing that. We're talking about the potential for a pullback. Now on Cardano, same thing. The same thing is true. Break to the downside, pull back. Always wait for that second touch to see if there's resistance for that true bearish confirmation. Pull back and a move back into the triangle could be so ultra bullish for Cardano. Maybe we test this previous swing low, 95 cents. Maybe it gets scooped up and we're popping back into that. You have to track these things very carefully. And you have to look at the upside potential, which is we're bouncing in this region. Maybe we come down a little, we're bouncing back up, and we're on our way into just this bullish environment. You have to anticipate that. And you also at the same time have to anticipate just downside to this area. Make your move, everybody. I'm a YouTuber here sharing the data with you, sharing my crypto journey. I'm not going to sit here and tell you what Bitcoin and Cardano are going to do next. I'm here to show you the scenarios. Show you maybe the better accumulation areas, obviously. From this swing high, it would be nice. A light buy here, see if we get a bounce. Medium buy here, if we're just really about to get that bullish bounce off the trend line. And then maybe the heavy buys are down here. That's kind of the type of approach that could be wise to have in these environments ever since we did that video at $1.43. But these decisions are up to you. This is based on your portfolio, your risk tolerance. I'm just sharing the data. So I wanted to do this video, Bitcoin, Cardano. Let's see what happens. Really interesting with Cardano, what's happening tomorrow. I mean, what will an announcement, if all markets are still bearish by tomorrow, what could an announcement do? Will it just be completely, bypassed and nothing happens with an announcement because the markets are bearish, or will it move Cardano? That's something we're going to watch. But $1.07, we're testing that support right now. Let's see what happens on Cardano. Hit the subscribe, hit the like. I'll see you all in the next video. God bless.